Welcome back to Psychic Street Smarts. I'm Catherine McDonald, and you can check me out on www.spiritualcat.com. We're talking to John Schaefer. We're on thatchannel.com, as always, on Monday night, but we're talking to John Schaefer, and you can find out more about him at www.johnschaefer.org.uk, and that will give a full listing of all your events and things you're doing. But you have written a book called My Guide and I.
Yeah.
So, what is the premise of the book? What was the purpose of writing it?
The reason for using it and writing it was my guide actually said to me, just write something about the word of spirit, what it all means, so people know about spiritualism, how it started, because people don't know how it started. And as you know, it started in Hildeville, New York, and that is, no one knows that. Not a lot of people know why, what happened, and why there was classes.
You're talking about the Fox Sisters in
the
Hydesville,
Fox
New York.
Sisters, and it goes back. We've got a lady back in Scotland. I'm sorry, but I can't remember her name. But she was classed as a witch as well. Helen Duncan, a medium in Helen Duncan.
She's very well known in the history here.
But she was never ever pardoned. She went to jail, never ever pardoned, and she was a true medium. This is why it all started. Not many people know that. You know, they just go straight out into mediumship, not knowing the history.
Yeah.
And it was just that my guide wanted to say to me, just write the book, just explain a little bit more about spirit, clairsentience, clairaudience, and that's all it was. And just said, just write some of your experiences about spirit, how you started, and it's just for people to get them started on the spiritual side of life.
When I was reading through it, I mean, I skimmed through the history because I'm an old school spiritualist. We had to learn all that stuff at one time. But I was interested in your experiences, and then I was reading a little bit about what your guide actually has to say. So did you want to pick something from it, just to give an idea of what kind of information is?
Yeah. It says, people that have wanted and loved their loved ones on the earth plane will still do. And through the people who can communicate with the spirit world, we can give them special messages of joy. The people who give these messages are not special. They are a communicator of spirit. Let me divine that. They are communicators. They hear, they sense, they smell. These people are chosen few. We are not going to choose people who are not suitable for this work to the spirit world. And you ask why we give them this gift. Don't ask. Thank them for what they are doing, because they are acting through love. These people have had experiences of their own, which are personal and private, and it is not up to you to ask. If they tell, that is fair enough. They have been chosen. These people have their guides and their helpers. The person I work with has very many he doesn't know about. He knows myself, I am his main guide, and the others follow through me. These are the guides that bring spirit through to give you lovely people a message.
So how did you come to find out who your spirit guide was? Was there a process to finding out who it was? Because I know the energy, I don't know all the names.
Right.
A lot of things have changed over the years.
I was actually sitting in circle, and I went to go into meditation. I was sitting on the beach, and I was just watching this boat come in, and then all of a sudden I just saw this American Indian just come straight through to me, and he was so big, and he was a lovely, lovely smile. And I did actually ask him the first time what his name was. He wouldn't give it to me. And then it was my teacher that actually gave me the guide. So I have actually used that first name that I've actually got off of him. That is how I've met him. And we have a lovely, lovely link together. We're open. I'm open all the time. So if I'm going into a restaurant or I'm sitting somewhere else, I actually see spirit. I don't ever, I should do, but I never, ever close down.
See, I've had to because I find it very stressful, like being on the subway or being, in certain places where, I mean, when I was starting out, I was in my 20s, I'm now in my early 40s, but I was 25, 26, and I was actually earlier than that, because I think I was about 23. I was starting university, and I would ride the subway, and I would be able to tell you where all the jumpers were, why they jumped, what was going on, because they wanted to let the loved ones know that they're okay now, but this is a lot of people choose that way to exit, okay? So I was horrified. I was like, oh, I don't want to see this stuff. So I had to do something
Yeah.
different for me. But I think now they
You
protect
learn.
me enough. But I didn't know. I mean, the first experience I had actually seeing full spirit, I was 11 years old. My grandfather passed, and he came every day for a year at 3:20 in the morning, because that's when he died. And I finally said to him, could you find a different point in time to come? Because it would wake me up.
Yeah.
But these are the experiences you have, and it's when you find a good teacher that you're able to sort all this stuff out.
That's it.
That's just some of it.
How to control them, not bugging you in your life all your time.
Well, I always say to people, you want to be connected to spirit realm, and you want to do the service, or you want to connect with them, but you also have to live in this world, and you have to
learn.
be present in this world. So you can't be, sort of doing that. But you find you see them all the time.
I see them all the time. I was on the plane coming over here, and all of a sudden I heard, just tell them the car rolled over 2 times. The car rolled over 2 times, and I'm giving it, can you, I'm on my way, I'm on the plane, can you just go away, leave me alone, I'm trying to sleep, I need me sleep.
Get away
but the
from
car
me.
rolled over 2 times. I said, I will give, whoever it is, I will give the message when I get there. And I actually found out it was for my cousin, because she works for the police force.
Okay.
And he actually passed over. It was one of the policemen. A car had crushed on top of him.
Oh, wow.
And his wife is having problems, so she knew this person personally, and it was like, I want you to let my wife know that I'm safe.
And this is what happened.
Yeah, and that she's having problems. She needs to have help, or she needs counselling at that time.
Yeah,
And
for
this
the
is what
grief.
spirit are like. It's just say, we're there, we're safe, but she needs help.
Because it's us that has the problem.
Yeah.
I mean, they go over there, and it's a celebration. I always think, geez, the party's on when I'm
Yeah,
over there.
there is a
They're not in
celebration.
pain. They don't have their illness. The biggest question I get is for people that have Alzheimer's. And my finding has always been that that's a physical deterioration of the brain. So
That's
when
it.
you go to spirit, you're pure spirit and soul, or however you want to put it. So you don't have the
it.
problem anymore.
No.
And it's amazing to people. And the other one is, a woman has lost a child or had an abortion. They're quite astounded to find out that the spirit people, I mean, you may not be born here, but you have a full life in spirit.
That's
As a
right.
child, you will grow up, and so eventually they will reconnect with that child, however it was lost. And there's no guilt to they don't have any animosity. You make
No.
a choice like that.
Yeah.
Whatever
People
the
do feel
circumstances
guilty
are.
for that, but what they don't realise is that when that child goes over to the spirit world, it's their relatives that are actually looking after that child as well.
The grandparents, the parents,
Yeah.
whoever happened to be there.
That's right. I know that it's a lovely feeling when I get a child through. I get the grief as well. I get the grief from the grandparent, or something that happened
Yeah.
to the grandma. And I've seen it as well, and I don't know if you notice that when someone's actually passing over into the spirit world, they're always looking to one corner of the room,
Yep.
and it's spirit coming through, waiting to collect them.
Coming to
Yeah.
collect them. That's
Yeah.
what I call it.
That's it, yeah. But people don't realise that. I've had people, I used to be a nurse, and I've heard
Ah.
people, yeah, but, an experience I will tell you in a minute. And I've seen it, and
Yep.
I've heard, who is that person there? Why are they wearing them clothes? Who are they? And you know that it's spirit coming to get them.
Yeah.
I can't tell them, I'm sorry, but you're going to go within a couple of days, because I don't know that. Spirit will take them when they're ready.
Yeah.
And
They help them pass.
yeah, they will help them pass out of their pain as well. As soon as they pass over, they're out of pain.
Do you know the one of the nicest experiences I've had. Now, when my grandfather passed, I was 11, so my mother didn't want me to go to the hospital. There was a reason, they want to protect you and whatever. And when I came into the room, he was half in and half out
Yeah.
of the body, and I was floored, dumbfounded, but I just knew that I had to tell him it was okay to go.
Yeah.
And that was in the evening, and then he passed on. We have a Thanksgiving holiday here in October. The U.S. they celebrate in November.
Yeah.
But he died on the Thanksgiving Monday, 3:20 in the morning, whatever it was. And I had a sense of peacefulness. Everybody else was doing the other thing, and I just had a sense of calm.
Yeah.
So that was one of my first experiences. I mean, and he was the closest person to me. It took me a year to sort of accept everything, but it was interesting. When my grandmother passed, I think it's been a few years now. I think it's 7 years. I can't. And she was in palliative care, and she was having a hard time. So I started doing the energy healing on her.
Yeah.
And she calmed right down, and she slept. She hadn't slept for a couple of weeks, and was driving Mum nuts because she was unsettled. So these are the things that if you know what to do with the energy, and you know how to use the healing, because that's the other part of spiritualism, is very much about healing.
Yeah.
And
People
the
don't know
messages
that.
are about
Yeah.
healing too.
People don't know a lot about healing either. And I was reading something about, and I come over to a church, I think it was Sunday I worked, and I found something out about blue water, and I'm thinking, what is this stuff? And apparently if you put water into a blue jug, leave it in the sunshine for about an hour and a half, it's got very good healing properties.
Yep.
You know, I never knew about that until I read that, and it's every time
You learn something.
you learn something. You know, even till the day that I actually pass over into the spirit world, I'm still learning. You know, you just don't go straight up on platform. You're learning all the time.
Oh, it's definitely a learning process.
Yeah. And I had an experience when I was working in the hospital, and I was actually working as a spiritual medium then. And this gentleman had passed over. He had a heart attack in the hospital, and they were trying to bring him back on the bed. And
With the defibrillators and
yeah,
a little bit?
yeah, and they had to phone up. Well, we had to phone up his wife to say, look, you know, your husband's not very well. Can you come in? And she said, look, I've got to go to the dentist. Can I come in later? I said, well, no, it's not very good. Can you just,
you might not get later.
Yeah, can you just come in? Oh, all right then. But unfortunately, he died. And as I was laying the gentleman out, you know, cleaning him and washing him,
Yeah.
there was another lady in there with me, another nurse. And all of a sudden I've heard, can you tell my wife I'm sorry? And I'm looking around everywhere thinking, what was that? And I realised it was him speaking straight away. Within about 2 minutes of him passing over, he just gave me a message. I went, I'm sorry, but I can't give your wife a message. He went, why? I said, well, your wife probably won't understand. And I was having a chat with this gentleman while I'm washing him and cleaning him up, ready for his wife to appear. And I'm thinking, how can I say that? And in the end, he said, I do understand what you're saying to me.
Yeah.
And
She would not have accepted.
she would have accepted
She
it.
would no.
If I'd have said that then, she would have probably clattered me and said, don't be so stupid. But people know what
Either that or she would have gone after your job and said, what kind of a nut
And
job is
You
this?
couldn't actually do that as a nurse
No,
either.
you're in a
but-
professional designation.
Yeah. But with nurses as well, someone actually said to me, why is it they always open a window and it's always to let the spirit out?
Yeah.
And they said, well, can't spirits go through windows? I said, no, but it's just
It's a term of respect.
yeah, it's a term of respect.
It's a ritual.
Yeah, he said, well, spirits must be able to come through walls. They must be able to come through windows as well. So,
You know, I think that there are a lot of old habits and old things that that we've done because it's always been done that way. You
Yeah.
know, there are people that believe in certain things, like they'll put black on the mirrors and things like that. And
Yeah.
there's like black cloth on mirrors. And I don't get into all of that, but I think creating your own ritual around someone's passing. And like, I spent the time with my grandmother in palliative care. I was there overnight, and I just spent a very quiet time with her, and she became lucid for a period of time, and she kept saying, I just want to go. I want to be free. I want to be free. And I kept thinking of the song by Queen, I want to be free. And every time I hear it on the radio, I think of her. And she was French Canadian, so English wasn't her first language.
Yeah.
And so very clearly and very distinctly, and she kept talking to me in French, and then they sent the English one, and then she'd revert. But when she did pass, it like Mum said, she was extremely peaceful. And I said, well, she's ready. I mean, it's just waiting for time. And Mum's open to it because they've had to tolerate me for, I've been
Some
doing
years.
it 15 years,
Yeah.
But I think it's still hard on the family. I mean, my family still doesn't get it. They get it to a point, but not.
But if you look at it, you're still grieving that person. You never ever stop grieving. And a lot of people, and I always say this, you feel guilty for not saying goodbye to their loved ones.
Yes.
But they understand in the spirit world. They know the reason why. If you were